Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Put.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poe. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
Time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
Time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to
First
demand the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome back to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Glad to have you here. So we've made a change into a new sun sign. So we've gone from a fire sign, which is Leo. Fire is all about ideas, creativity. We've now gone from fire, and now we're at an earth sign. So if you just think of the movement of these energies, fire flickers, can stay still, but fire is affected by everything around it. So our ideas are affected by the motions around it. Look at a candle flame. And the flame is there and it flickers because the wind is blowing. What is wind? Wind is activity, actions. So we have ideas, or the fire is being played upon by the actions and everything around it. And the earth keeps it stable. You set a candle on a table or on the ground. So the earth is stable. The earth doesn't move unless there's something like an earthquake, in which case we feel all of that movement. So we've got a solid earth now, earth as the physical element, and it's the last of the physical elements because we've got spirit, and then spirit is manifest as fire, water, air, and you put those together, you create the earth. Okay, so our sign for today is Virgo. Virgo is the sun sign for this next month. Virgo is represented here by the Hermit. The Hermit is number 9, so it's the last of the single numbers, so the Hermit. And the idea of this is, as we've walked the path, we've gone through all of the single numbers, we come to the last one because we're ready to go to the next phase. We're ready to begin to partner up with that next level, which would be the number 10. The Hermit has gained wisdom over the course of time. The color gray is a color of neutrality because he's not on one extreme or the other. He's walking the path of balance. And the Hermit is all about patience and timing, that everything in life operates according to timing. Doesn't matter who we are or what we're doing, there's a divine timing to everything. And so if we can get in sync with the divine timing, then we're going to seem that life is running smoother. If we're out of sync with that, then we try to rush things and force things to happen. And if the universe isn't ready for them to happen, they're not going to happen. So we need to be in synchronicity, and this is the whole idea. So with the earth, we're learning the lessons of the earth. Patience. If the elements, you've got all of the elements slowing down. Fire is moving faster than air. Air is moving fast. Water is moving fast. But earth is the vibration where the energy is really slow. It's down, so we appear it as the physical things. Therefore, we must be patient because the movement in the earth where things are slower and heavier is a little bit slower than at the other vibrations. Okay? I'm making sense here? Now our moon sign for today currently, as we could see, is in Sagittarius, and it's going to be in Sagittarius all the way till tonight when it goes into Capricorn. So Sagittarius is this one. Sagittarius is the fire sign. So fire moves, it flickers, it can stand still, but fire is ideas. So we have all of these ideas, and the idea of temperance, which represents the card of Sagittarius, is learning to temper our ideas, learning to temper that fire within us. Because fire, we all know, can become very aggressive if that energy gets bottled up and we don't know how to use it. So we become agitative and aggressive. Therefore, we have to temper our energies. We need to temper our ideas and the fire within us so we can make it usable. And that's what this is going on here. 1 foot on the land, 1 foot on the water, 1 foot on the conscious, 1 foot on the unconscious. This is our higher self. In order to be working with our higher self, we need to be in balance, because the higher self is in balance. It's not out of balance. So we need to get in synchronicity. Remember, if we've got the layers and we're looking at the fire as the highest layer, and we got the water and then the air and the earth, if we want the vibration of the earth to affect that idea, the ideas, the fire, it's not really going to happen so easily, because things don't work backwards that way. Things work the other way around. So we get the ideas and we can affect the things that are going down in the physical with the ideas. That's how we make the changes in the earth. That's how we make the changes in the physical, by having the ideas and then letting them trickle down. An idea, apply emotion to it, express it as words or actions, and you create the form. And all that's required, as we learned from the hermit, is patience for knowing when that's going to happen. Okay? So I'm kind of tying in as we go what we've been learning about through the Krybalion, the Dreamspell, kind of tying it all together, because you can see with all of this additional information, now you have more pieces to put together in the puzzle to help you understand. We're living in a world of energy, and the more we understand it, the better off we're going to be, because then we can move through it much simpler and smoother. It's like having a roadmap and looking to see what's going on. Some of the other aspects to be concerned with over the course of today, we see a trine. This happened early in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, where imagination is working with Sagittarius. We've also had a lesson, a square, 5:23 a.m., which was between Sagittarius. Sagittarius is also the truth bringer, that higher self. And this was a square, a lesson with our wounded healer, that wounded part of ourselves. Shortly after that, Uranus jumped in for some unexpected changes, unexpected events. So these are all playing out over the course of today. Some lessons about that part of ourselves, how to express our imagination, and just being ready for surprises. And then the course of the day, we just kind of go through dealing with those aspects. As we get to the evening time, 5:04 p.m., Mercury jumps into the mix, and there's some lessons to be learned with communication. It's a square between Sagittarius and Mercury. Okay, so we need to learn communication skills in this regards. Oftentimes we say that we want to make sure that we say the things that are going to help us, but we also need to learn how not to say the things that are going to hurt us. And that's equally as important as saying the things that are going to help us. Because by not saying the things that are going to hurt us, we're actually saying things that are going to help us, but maybe in a nonverbal sort of way. So with communication with Mercury and this lesson right here, this square, that's what we're needing to deal with. A lesson about how we express the fire through our communication in the most effective way. And then we go into a void, of course, where we'll be until the transition into the next phase, which takes place at 11:22 p.m. So tomorrow we'll be in Capricorn. We'll deal with that then. You've got your wheel for just further placement if you want to see where everything is. Here's our moon in Sagittarius. Here's our sun over here in Virgo. You can see it's just right on the edge of it. Everything where it's placed. So this helps you to understand a little bit more. It's just a puzzle, and we're just putting pieces together. The Jewish calendar is a big part of this puzzle as well. The significance of the Jewish calendar is that when we hear and we read the stories of the Bible and we hear about the biblical calendar and the timing of the Bible, well, we look to the Jewish calendar, because this is the calendar that shows the timeline. And so we can understand the Bible and the timeline of the Bible through understanding the Jewish calendar, because this is what it's coded and set against. Okay? So that's important to understand this as well. Today is the 24th on the Gregorian, but in the Jewish calendar, it is 9 Elul is the name of the month, and the year is 5775. So as opposed to 2015, which the Gregorian calendar shows us, the Jewish calendar, different timing, the year 5775. Okay. The daily thought for today from the Jewish calendar is panic. Panic, confusion, and pessimism. These are the nightmares of a heart freely handed to the reins of the mind. How do you do that? Reverse process, hand your mind the reins to your heart. How do you do that? You think good thoughts and you focus on these thoughts. You refuse to allow the burning panic in your heart to distract you. Soon enough, the black horse of pessimism gallops off into the night. The Mayan Dreamspell Oracle. Today is a 13-tone day, so we know that to be the cosmic tone. It's the last of the tones. We'll look at the Zolkin here. 13th is represented by the 13th column on one hand, which is the 13th tone. If we look at its placement here within the Zolkin grid, we could see we're over here in the 7th column, 3rd position down. The phrase for today is I endure in order to dream. Endurance comes from the 13. Transcending intuition. Intuition is coming from this symbol, the Daykin, which is the night. The guide for today is the hand. It says I seal the input of abundance, coming also from the night with the cosmic tone, 13 of presence. So it's the cosmic tone of presence that has the quality of endurance within it, whereas this is the night, which has within it the qualities of dreams, intuition, abundance. Okay, all of this is coded within our phrase each and every day. And it says the last part is I am guided by the power of accomplishment. The guide right here, the hand. The hand accomplishes. So does the cosmic night guided by the hand. The warrior is our like-minded energy, questioning, using our intelligence. The challenge energy for today is exploration of space, the skywalker. And a hidden power is the mirror. It means our ability to look in the mirror at our own reflection. Okay? And current moon phase, waxing moon, 68% of the way there. By the end of this week, we will be at a full moon. Solar wind currently is 446.0 kilometers per second. Planetary K index 2 and a 3 in range. M-class flare possibilities at 55%. X-class at 10. Geomagnetic storm activity is subsiding. It's going from 45 down to 35. Mid-latitudes, high latitudes, it's dropping from 70 down to 50. And looking up in the sky tonight, it's a nice little grid for us to see. Right here, the 24th, says the two brightest stars of summer are Vega, overhead soon after dark, and Arcturus, declining even lower in the west. The name Vega comes from the ancient Arabic phrase for the diving eagle. Arcturus is from the ancient Greek for bear watcher or bear guardian, referred to the way it follows Ursa Major, the great bear, around the sky. The brightest part of the bear, the Big Dipper, is dipping down, well, to the right of Arcturus in the northwest. And there you have it. That's our cosmic weather. Cosmic weather to help you get started, because you look at the weather to see if it's raining or snowing or sunny. Might as well look at the understanding of the weather on a deeper and a subtler level, which is what we're doing. All right. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All righty, Dirk. Thank you very much. So I've got a bunch of really good stories here today. First one takes place in Yellowstone. Green glowing UFO caught during the sunset in Yellowstone Park, Montana. There's our object in question. The date of the sighting was the 15th of August. This UFO report has a green glowing craft caught during sunset. I often say this, but I need to say it again. UFOs are most often seen during the sunset. This green craft is very beautiful. It's not a disc, but a shape like no other. After she took the first photo, the craft hid in the shadows of the trees, but luckily for us, she caught it. It's very geometrical in shape and tilted to one side. Check out the close-ups. All right, you can see Scott's close-ups here. Very good. The eyewitness says, I was out fishing in Yellowstone River one evening when the pictures were taken. It was around 8:30 p.m. I took a few of the sun behind the clouds, but something kept grabbing my attention about the particular area. I kept feeling like I needed to take more pictures towards that direction. I noticed the object in one picture moving towards the cloud, and when looking at the picture before, I noticed it in the trees across the river from me. There's a strange green glow. I can't say what it was, but I definitely believe that it's possibly a UFO and wanted experts to have a look. Okay? So very interesting. What is it? Don't know. But maybe we'll find out. UFO over Mexico gets caught near the clouds in daylight. There we go. Nice ship. You could see the typical UFO ship we normally see. UFO is caught not by watching the sky, but by leaving the camera and letting it record. This is smart because a lot of UFOs can hear your thoughts from a distance, and thus the UFO will automatically cloak itself. Have you looked at a UFO cloud and then instantly it starts to disappear before your eyes? That's it. It's an auto-cloaking system that works really well, but not enough because no one was watching. This UFO thought it was safe to shoot past. Nice catch. Okay, so UFO suddenly appears before my camera. Confirmed that there's no coincidence with other sightings I've seen. So I let my camera, and without investing much time, managed to film a UFO, which seems to have also that you can try at a dimensional portal. Okay, very interesting. Next, Las Vegas, Nevada. This is by Henderson. This is a nice change. I don't have too many captures from this location as they are always along the edges of the city and don't stick around for long. Okay, 7-minute and 50-second video here of the lights over Henderson. It's come to us from UFOs in the USA. There are many of those, aren't there? All right. There we go. Group of UFOs. Sitting right there. All right, I'm going to leave this for you to investigate further. I'm going to continue on. Here we have UFOs around chemtrails. These UFOs almost appear to be some sort of probe exploring the chemtrails. Yes, wondering what the heck we silly humans are doing down here. See it right up there. All right. Well, we're going to just skip. Okay, moving on. Black Knight UFO recorded near ISS, August 2015. All we have here is just a video. Video itself is 11 minutes in length. And if it starts to play, there we go. All right. Here's our supposed image of the Earth. There's something right out there. This is supposedly the ISS. And I say supposedly because a lot of things get doctored these days. This doesn't necessarily mean that this is the Earth. This doesn't necessarily mean that this is the ISS, and this doesn't necessarily mean it's what we think it is or what we imagine it is. It could all be doctored. Here's something weird you can check out. When you look at pictures from NASA, when you look at pictures of the Earth, things that, we're told are of outer space, or you look at some of these planets that they're sending in, look carefully, because a lot of people miss this. They overlook this. If you look carefully at down on the little small print underneath the pictures, and it describes, a lot of times it will tell you that the picture you're looking at of the Earth is a composite. A composite means there are several images that were composited or put together to make another image. So what they're telling you, in many cases, when you're looking at these pictures, you're seeing a picture that was put together, a composite of images put together to make one image. But unless you read the small print, you're going to skip that. You're not going to know that you're looking at a composite. You're going to think you're looking at a picture that was taken from millions of miles away, or whatever else NASA's telling you. I don't necessarily believe that the things that they're talking about NASA are real, because I do know that they are they're quite the liars. They don't like to always put out information, and after a while, when you get lied to so often and misinformed, it's hard to trust what they're about. So, just my 2 cents on the matter. NASA, never a straight answer, or the National Academy of Space Actors, in my humble opinion. All right, here's a very interesting UFO right here. This goes back to the ancient aliens. The idea is an ancient Mayan statue has a code on its face. Take a good look at that code. It's a well-known fact that Mexico is holding a large amount of Mayan artifacts that are 100% proof that they were made by ancient aliens. This is one of those artifacts. Although the face as a whole works as a QR code, I doubt that the Mayans made it for that. It's probably a mathematical equation to warn about events to come, or, if we didn't know it already, aliens can time travel with their ships. In many reports, including my favorite abduction at Costa Rica. Still trying to place the statue's whereabouts, where and when it was found, what museum it is in, and the statue has been authenticated by carbon dating. So if this is real, that's quite interesting. And we'll take a little bit further look down here. Here's some of the code that I'm trying to decode in there, but here's a sample. Okay, look how that is. You've seen this code. It matches right over it, doesn't it? Same thing we use when we are using our cell phones to try to get to a website. You hold your cell phone over this, if you have this QR app, and boom, right to the website. So, is this some sort of similar thing? Time travel device, you point something at there, it takes you to another location? Don't know, but if this is real, that's pretty fascinating. And one last story today for the UFO news, how the Arcturians are healing planet Earth. Now, when we talked about the stars today, Arcturus was one of the stars that we saw that was in range. Alien reptilians, who are multidimensional extraterrestrials, have been plaguing our planet for eons, lowering our vibrational frequency and using fear, manipulation, and mind control to dominate and enslave humanity. They have no natural enemies here, so they have a free rein to carry out their agenda. But that is no longer the case. The Arcturians, a much more powerful race of multidimensional extraterrestrials, are right now helping to heal the planet and raise its vibrational frequency by removing alien reptilians and sending them to the light. The Arcturians are highly advanced, very loving and peaceful beings from Arcturus, a star in the Bootes constellation. They are ready to communicate and work with any soul who aspires to journey with them to a higher level of consciousness. In their words, the souls of the people of Mother Earth have suffered enough over the ages, and now is the time to make the age of Aquarius a new and glorious era. Wayne Brewer is a prominent private investigator with over 35 years of experience uncovering hidden truths, the author of Are You Possessed? Now is the time for the divine intervention. And here's several videos talking all about this very subject. Okay? So, there you have it. Aliens among us, reptilians, Arcturians, all of this good stuff. I read a book once. Actually, I've read through the book a couple times. It is a book that is channeled from Arcturians. It is called The Cosmic Blueprint for After. And I think I'm going to contact the person who wrote the book and see if I can get a hold of it to perhaps read some here on the show. It's quite fascinating. The Arcturians in this book refer to themselves as reality engineers, and their objective is to help us to understand and construct our reality. So hearing that they are out there and their connection doesn't surprise me one bit, having read through that book and come to understand the significance of what it's about. All right? All right. That's our UFO news. I'm going to jump away. I'll be back. We'll continue on. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Alrighty. I'm back. Continuing on. The Krybalion. We've been going over the Krybalion, and today we're going to continue on The chapter we're on is the divine paradox. The divine paradox. Quick review. The Krybalion, 7 principles of the universe. We're talking about the first principle, which is the principle of mentalism. And this is the 3rd chapter that's talking about that. There are 7 principles. First principle, mentalism, states that we live in a universe that is part of much greater set of universes, and all of this universe and the other universes are part of one giant mind. And this giant mind, which has many different levels, like universes and a universe and so on and so forth, everything corresponds to everything. So the smallest aspect corresponds to the largest aspect. And this giant mind that we are part of is continually evolving and growing. So all the things like us and the worlds and everything existing is growing and living within this realm of energy, this mind that is continuing to grow and learn and expand. So this next chapter is called the divine paradox. The half-wise, recognizing the comparative unreality of the universe, imagine that they may defy its laws. Such are vain and presumptuous fools, and they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements by reason of their folly. The truly wise, knowing the nature of the universe, use law against laws, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy, and thus triumph. Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in using the higher forces against the lower. Okay, hear that? Using the higher forces against the lower. There's the very important part. Escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is a weapon of the masses. Okay? Transmutation, not denial. So this sums it up in this section here, and it's very important. The Krybalion tells us, in Hermetic philosophy, shows us, and esoteric science show us, which are all tied in, that this universe we live within, this giant mind, has various layers. Spirit pours itself in, then you got fire, water, air, and earth. The higher vibration always plays upon the lower vibration. The lower vibration does not play upon the higher. Therefore, since we know that fire is a higher vibration than the earth, fire represents ideas, all we have to do is go to that higher vibration, and by affecting the mind, the great universal mind, with our mind, because it corresponds to that, we can now affect the lower vibration because we've gone to the higher to make the change. Does that make sense? That's what this keeps referring to when it says the higher affects the lower, but not the other way around. Okay? So, continuing on. This is the paradox of the universe, resulting from the principle of polarity, which manifests when the all begins to create. Hearken to it, for the points the indifference between half wisdom and wisdom. Well, to the infinite all, the universe, its laws, its powers, its life, its phenomena, are as things witnessed in the state of meditation or dream. Yet to the all that is finite, the universe must be treated as real, and life and action and thought must be based thereupon accordingly, although with an ever understanding of the higher truth, each according to its own plane and laws. Were the all to imagine that the universe were indeed reality, then woe to the universe, for there would be no escape from lower to higher. Divine word, then would the universe become fixity, and progress would be impossible. And if man, owing to half wisdom, acts and lives and thinks of the universe as merely a dream, akin to his own finite dreams, then indeed so does it become for him like a sleepwalker. He stumbles ever around the circle, making no progress, or being forced into an awakening at last by his falling bruised and bleeding over the natural laws which he ignored. Keep in mind ever on the star, but let your eyes watch over your footsteps, lest you fall into the mire by reason of the upward gaze. Remember the divine paradox that while in the universe is not, still it is. Remember ever the two poles of truth, the absolute and the relative. Beware of half-truths. So within this area here, we just want to come to an understanding that the universe, being much larger and expansive than our individual being that we are in right now, has much more infinite possibilities that exist within it than we do personally in our own moments at times, because we are affected by the energies around us. So if we are affected, and we can go to the higher or lower consciousness of these energies, as we move past our own boundaries, we realize that the things we think and dream and see are not the be all end all of everything. There's things much bigger than that. So the first thing we have to learn is not to limit ourselves to what it is we think we know, but to open ourselves to expansion of the universe, to understanding what the universe knows. And therein lies an aspect of faith, because having faith allows us to believe and have faith that the universe itself will operate according to the laws of the universe. And if we get in sync with that, then we will be moving through life more effectively. So our faith is simply to have faith that the universe will do what the universe does. And the universe has been doing for a long time, so it's not too difficult to have faith in a process that has been going on. For some it is, but that's what we're dealing with. What Hermeticists know is the law of paradox, an aspect of the principle of polarity. The Hermetic writings are filled with reference to the appearance of the paradox and the consideration of the problems of life and being. The teachers are constantly warning their students against the error of omitting the other side of any question, and their warnings are particularly directed to the problems of the absolute and the relative, which perplexes all students of philosophy and which cause so many to think and act contrary to what is generally known as common sense. And we caution all students to be sure to grasp the divine paradox of the absolute and the relative, lest they become entangled in the mire of half-truth. With this in view, the particular lesson has been written. Read it carefully. The first thought that comes to the thinking man after he realizes that the truth that the universe is a mental creation of the all is that the universe and all of the creation is a mere illusion, an unreality, against which his instincts revolt. But this, like all other great truths, must be considered both from the absolute and the relative points of view. From the absolute point, of course, the universe is in the nature of an illusion, a dream, a phantasmagoria, as compared to the all in itself. We recognize this even in our ordinary view, for we speak of the world as a fleeting show that comes and goes, is born and dies, for the element of impermanence and change, finiteness and unsubstantiality must ever be connected with the idea of a created universe when it is contrasted with the idea of the all, no matter what may our beliefs concerning the nature of both. Philosopher, metaphysician, scientist, and theologian all agree upon this, and the thought is found in all forms of philosophical thought and religious conception, as well as the theories of the respective schools of metaphysics and theology. So the Hermetic teachings do not preach the unsubstantiality of the universe in any stronger terms than those more familiar to you, although their presentation of the subject may seem somewhat more startling. Anything that has a beginning and an ending must be, in some sense, unreal and untrue, and the universe comes under the rule in all schools of thought. From the absolute point of view, there is nothing real except the all, no matter what terms we may use in thinking of or discussing the subject. Whether the universe be created of matter, or whether it be a mental creation in the mind of the all, it is substantiated, non-enduring, a thing of time, space, and change. We want you to realize this fact thoroughly before you pass judgment on the Hermetic conception of the mental universe, of the nature of the universe. Think over any and all other conceptions and see whether they be true, whether this be not true of them. But the absolute point of view shows merely one side of the picture. The other side is the relative one. Absolute truth has been defined as things as the mind of God knows them, while relative truth is things as the highest reason of man understands them. So while to the all the universe must be unreal and illusionary, a mere dream, a result of meditation, nevertheless, to the finite minds forming a part of the universe and viewing it through mortal faculties, the universe is very real indeed and must be considered. In recognizing the absolute view, we must not make the mistake of ignoring or denying the facts and phenomena of the universe as they present themselves to our moral faculties. We are not the all, remember. To take familiar illustrations, we all recognize the fact that matter exists to our senses. We will fare badly if we do not, and yet even our finite minds understands the scientific dictum that there is no such thing as matter from a scientific point of view, which we still call matter, is held to be merely an aggregation of atoms, which atoms themselves are merely a group of units of force called electrons or ions, vibrating and in constant circular motion. We kick a stone, we feel the impact. It seems to be real, notwithstanding that we know it to be merely what we have stated above. But remember that our foot, which feels the impact by means of our brains, is likewise matter, as constituted of electrons, and for that matter, so are our brains. And at the best, if it were not by reason of our minds, we would not know the foot or the stone at all. Then again, the ideal of the artist or the sculpture, which he is endeavoring to reproduce in stone or on canvas, seems very real to him. So do the characteristics in the mind of the author or dramatist, which he seeks to express so that the others may recognize them. And if this be true in the case of the finite minds, what must be the degree of reality in the mental images created in the mind or of the infinite? O friends to mortals, this universe of mentality is very real indeed. It is the only one we can ever know, though we rise from plane to plane, higher and higher in it. To know it otherwise, by actual experience, we must be the all itself. It is true that the higher we rise in the scale, the nearer to the mind of the Father we reach, the more apparent becomes the illusionary nature of finite things, but not until the all finally withdraws us into itself does the vision actually vanish. So we need not to dwell upon the feature of illusion. Rather, let us recognize the real nature of the universe, seek to understand its mental laws, and endeavor to use them to the best effect in our upward progress through life as we travel from plane to plane of being. The laws of the universe are nonetheless iron laws because of the mental nature. All except the all are bound to them. What is in the finite mind of the all is real in a degree second only to the reality which is vested in the nature of the all. So do not feel insecure or afraid. We are all held firmly in the infinite mind of the all, and there is naught to hurt us or for us to fear. There is no power outside of the all to affect us, so we may rest calm and secure. There is a world of comfort and security in this realization. When once attained, then calm and peaceful do we sleep, rocked in the cradle of the deep, resting safely in the bosom of the ocean of infinite mind, which is the all. In the all, indeed, do we live, move, and have our being. Matter is nonetheless matter to us while we dwell on the plane of matter, although we know it to be merely an aggregation of electrons or particles of force vibrating rapidly and gyrating around each other in the formation of atoms, the atom in turn vibrating and gyrating, forming molecules which in turn form larger masses of matters. Nor does matter become less matter when we follow the inquiry still further and learn from the Hermetic teachings that the force of which the electrons are but units is merely a manifestation of the mind of the all, and like all else in the universe is merely purely mental in its nature. While in the plane of matter we must recognize its phenomena, we may control matter, but we do so by applying the higher forces. We commit a folly when we attempt to deny the existence of the matter in a relative aspect. We may deny its mastery over us, and rightly so, but we should not attempt to ignore it in its relative aspect, at least so long as we dwell upon its plane. Nor do the laws of nature become less constant or effective when we know them likewise to be merely mental creations. They are in full effect on the various planes. We overcome the lower laws by applying still higher ones, and in this way only, but we cannot escape the law or rise above it entirely. Nothing but the law can escape law. Nothing but the all can escape law, and because the all is law itself from which the law emerged, the most advanced masters may acquire the power usually attributed to the gods of men, and there are countless ranks of being in the hierarchy of life whose being and power transcends even the highest masters among men to a degree unthinkable by mortals. But even by the highest master and the highest being must bow to the law and be as nothing in the eye of the all, so that if even these highest beings, whose powers exceed those attributed by men to their gods, if even these are bound by and are subservient to law, then imagine the presumption of mortal man, of our race and grade, when we dare to consider the laws of nature be unreal, visionary, and illusionary, because they happen to be able to grasp the truth of the laws are mental in nature, and simply mental creations of the law, of the all, whose law, which the all intends to be governing laws, are not to be defied or argued away. So long as the universe endures, will they endure, for the universe exists by virtue of these laws which form its framework and which hold it together. The Hermetic principle of mentalism, while explaining the true nature of time, universe upon the principle that all is mental, does not change time scientific conceptions of the universal life or evolution. In fact, science merely corroborates the Hermetic teachings. The latter merely teaches us that the nature of the universe is mental, while modern science has taught us that it is material, or, of late, that it is energy at the last analysis. The Hermetic teachings have no fault to find with Herbert Spencer's basic principle, which postulates the existence of an infinite and eternal energy from which all things proceed. In fact, the Hermetics recognize in Spencer's philosophy the highest outside statement of the workings of natural laws that have ever been promulgated, and they believe Spencer to have been a reincarnation of an ancient philosopher who dwelt in ancient Egypt thousands of years ago, and who later incarnated as Heraclitus, the Grecian philosopher who lived BC 500. And they regard his statement of the infinite internal energy as directly in the line of Hermetic teachings, always with the addition of their own doctrine that this energy is the energy of the mind of the all. With the master key of the Hermetic philosophy, the student of Spencer will be able to unlock many doors of this inner philosophical conceptions of the great English philosopher, whose work shows the results of the preparation of his previous incarnations. His teachings regarding evolution and rhythm are almost perfect agreement with the Hermetic teachings regarding the principle of rhythm. So the student of Hermetics need not lay aside any of his cherished scientific views regarding the universe. All he is asked to do is to grasp the underlying principle of the all is mind. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. He will find that the other 6 of the 7 principles will fit into his scientific knowledge and will serve to bring out obscure points and to throw light into dark corners. This is not to be wondered at when we realize the influence of the Hermetic thought on the early philosophers of Greece, upon whose foundations of thought the theories of modern science largely rest. The acceptance of the first Hermetic principle, mentalism, is the only great point of difference between modern science and Hermetic students, and science is gradually moving towards the Hermetic position in its groping in the dark for reality. The purpose of this lesson to impress upon the minds of our students the fact, to all intents and purposes, the universe and its laws and its phenomena are just as real so far as man is concerned as they would be under the hypothesis of materialism or energism. Under any hypothesis, the universe in its outer aspects is changing, ever-flowing and transitory, and therefore devoid of substantiality and reality. But note the other pole of truth. Under any of the same hypothesis, we are compelled to act and live as if the fleeting things were real and substantial, with this difference always between the various hypotheses, that under the old views mental power was ignored as a natural force, while under mentalism it becomes the greatest natural force. This one difference revolutionizes life to those who understand the principle and its resulting laws and practices. So finally, students all grasp the advantage of mentalism and learn to know, use, and apply the laws resulting therefrom, but do not yield to the temptations which, as the Krybalion states, overcomes the half-wise, which causes them to be hypnotized by the apparent unreality of things. The consequence being that they wander about like dream people, dwelling in a world of dreams, ignoring the practical work and life of man, the end being that they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements, by reason of their folly. Rather follow the example of the wise, which the same authority states use the law against laws, higher against lower, by the art of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable to that which is worthy, and thus triumph. following the authority, let us avoid the half-wisdom, which is folly, which ignores truth that mastery consists in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings, or living, but in using the higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Remember always, student, that transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. The above quotations are from the Krybalion and are worthy of being committed to memory by the student. We do not live in a world of dreams, but in a universe which, while relative, is real so far as our lives and actions are concerned. Our business of the universe is not to deny the existence, but to live using the laws and rise from lower to higher, living on, doing the best that we can under the circumstances arising each day, and living so far as is possible to our highest ideals and ideas. The true meaning of life is not known to men on this plane, if indeed to any, but the highest authorities and our own institutions teach us that we will make no mistake in living up to the best that is in us so far as it is possible, and realizing the universal tendency in the same direction in spite of apparent evidences to the contrary. We are all on the path, and the road leads upward ever with frequent resting places. Read the message of the Krybalion, follow the example of the wise, avoiding the mistake of half-wise who perish by reason of their folly. Okay, it's a lot there. A lot there. Pretty much think of it like this. We're looking out at the universe, and we see the universe all around us. And we have a perspective of what we are seeing. Now imagine, like in a movie theater, you've got those who are sitting in the theater watching the movie. That's us. But then you have those who are in the projection booth and they're showing the movie to you. They have a different perspective. And that's what we're talking about here. We look at this perspective, at this world around us, this great mental projection, and we view it in one way as perhaps being real or not real, maybe it being a dream. But it is real, and the way it is looked upon from the other side of the veil is this is a real manifestation and a projection, and we are needing to get in synchronicity with what it is showing us. And the way we do that is, rather than just being stuck here in this physical earth, we have to raise up to that higher level of our ideas, that fire, and we need to bring that down. The Hierophant teaches the lesson. It has the Hebrew letter Hey, which means hook. And it's teaching us the lesson that we have to hook that spiritual and bring it down to the earth. Bring heaven down to earth. And in doing so, we're bringing that higher conscious vibration down to affect our lowered vibration to help raise it higher. Okay? And all of these lessons here are saying the same thing over and over, just helping us to understand so we can make this process smoother and smoother. Okay? So that brings us to, we're just going to jump to the passage in the Warrior of the Light today in our meditation. And we're going to move on. So today, Warrior of the Light, we are on page 91. I believe we're getting close to the end of these passages. If not, keep reading them. Page number 91. When the moment for combat approaches, the Warrior of the Light is prepared for all eventualities. He analyzes every strategy and asks, what would I do if I had to fight myself? He thus discovers his weak points. At that moment his opponent approaches. He comes with a bag full of promises, treaties, negotiations. He has tempting proposals and easy alternatives. The warrior analyzes each of the proposals. He also seeks agreement, but without ever losing his dignity. If he avoids combat, it will not be because he was seduced, but because he judged it to be the best strategy. A warrior of light does not accept gifts from his enemy. Okay? So, very interesting indeed. Okay, so all of these things are all connected. And so let's do a meditation now in which we can kind of focus on all of these things and learn to look past this illusionary nature of things. So close your eyes. take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath and exhale again. And another deep breath and exhale. Now, let's just imagine that we are seated and looking out at the world. And as we see the world, at first we're looking at the world from the perspective of watching a movie. And as we see this movie, sometimes we think it's real and sometimes we're not quite so certain. And as we contemplate the origin of this mental projection of this movie that we are seeing, we understand that the filmmaker, the movie maker behind this, had some other ideas in mind. And that through these projections, through this movie that we are all seeing, the reality and the idea of the great movie maker comes through. And so we learn to look at life from two different perspectives. From the perspective of the observer and from the perspective of the creator, creating that which we observe. And as we learn to look at life from both perspectives of that which is real and that which is unreal, we begin to understand the differences between the two and understand their connection as well. And this brings us to understanding the deeper connection of the all is mind, and that all aspects of the mind correspond to each other. Therefore, we understand that at our lowest aspect of the mind, we correspond to the highest aspect, and therefore have the opportunity this moment to evolve simply by placing our consciousness, our focus point of thought, on that higher point, that higher vibration. And as we do, we make the necessary adjustments. So as we go into the world today, let's just observe the reality and the unreality. Let's just look at the world as observers, and let's look to understand the Creator. And as we look at both the Creator and the observer and understand things from both perspectives, let us meet in the middle as the hermit with a new understanding. So let the subconscious mind continue on this journey of understanding, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Get you started for the week. I hope that you're really delving into this work of the Krybalion and understanding this. And as you understand this and you apply this to the Dreamspell, and then you apply this to astrology, I'm pretty certain that you're starting to see the connections between all of them, because everything is connected. Those who had this knowledge in one area and those who have had knowledge in other areas are all really expressing the same knowledge, but in different perspectives and different ways. And as we look to see this and we find the commonness, we understand the common mission, or not mission, but the common language and vision that is being shown to all of us. We just see things different ways, but the ability to all see the same is inherent within. And we need to rise above our physical consciousness to understand that, because sometimes the physical consciousness limits us to what we think we know, But when we raise up, we expand to understand that there's more out there than we realize. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks again for your emails, for your comments, for subscribing to the station. I appreciate all of that. You have an awesome day. I'll go do the same, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I love you. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.